So she's there with the top on. Only really need the arms and neck done. I said, don't touch the face. So I've
not the face, not the money maker.
So Lucy's there with the mitt, doing the hands and the arms.
Brilliant.
And she's looking at me. Never did I think in our marriage like this. What's our life come to? Here we go, episode 2 of the Offload with me, Tommy Bowe and Donncha Callahan. Donncha, a busy old week, lots to discuss. You were pitch side for Leinster Munster. I was pitch side for the Ulster Connacht match. We'll discuss that a little bit later on. But first off, how's your week?
Yeah, busy. I am up the walls. Disaster Dad is available 24th of October. And Tommy, the first copy is for you. Well, it's not for you.
Well, I actually have it pre-recorded.
Do you?
Or pre-ordered,
Pre-ordered, that's kind of, you can bop that on as a present, but that is for Emma and Jamie.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. So I've been up the walls with it.
Thanks for getting Ryan Tuberty to serialise it. Perfectly captures the goofy kind of love that dads have with their kids. There
Who will I go for, the toy show man or the fashion man? He was every time.
I'm actually a bit offended. So promo for that's been pretty crazy, has it?
There's a lot on around it that I didn't take into consideration. You know what I mean? All the kind of press that goes
actually
around
writing it.
Yeah, I swear, writing it was quite a joy. Now, it is for 5 to 9 year olds, so you should be well able. But if you do struggle, I will read you a few bits.
I'm going to read a little bit later on because I'd say I can relate to a lot of the Disaster Dad. My God, with the two kids, my two, it's like, is it a guide or is it... Okay.
No, it's not. It's pure fiction, but they're stories that happened to me. So basically, that's where the kind of idea came from. Silly things like painting my table, odd colours, playing in the red jocks, robbing the wrong people's trolleys, stuff like that. The stuff that happened to me that embarrasses my kids.
It's the stuff that we know that you're best at.
Exactly.
Poor Jenny, your wife. I've had a bit of a shocker this week as well. I've been busy, obviously with AM in the mornings, but I had to do loads of stuff for the clothes shoes. Busy period coming up, and the old 4 o'clock starts aren't great for when you have to do a photo shoot, and the old eyes are hanging out of you, you're wrecked, you're feeling rubbish, and the lads tell you, right, we're going to do loads of photos tomorrow, so, you know, get yourself looking good, get a good night's sleep. And I was chatting to Lucy, I was chatting to the guys, and they're saying, you know, you should try, you know all about this, you should maybe try with the old fake tan. Would you ever think with a fake tan?
Where was my phone call there? Well, I was thinking you right
exactly.
through it.
I wouldn't have gone to Ryan Tuberty for that. There's only one man for the fake tan, Donncha Callahan. But so anyway, I shouldn't even be telling you this. So I went home to Lucy. I said, "Listen, we're going to try and get a bit of tan on. Do you have any spare?" So she said, I come on, I'll go up and have a look. So it was late on, and she said, "Why are you leaving it so late? Like, you're meant to prep this sort of stuff."
You want to be doing that the Tuesday of a Saturday game. I mean
just an hour or two before. So anyway, so she goes in, she pulls out this tan. She said, "Right, this stuff's good for you here. But you leave it on for an hour and it'd be like give you a nice glow. 2 to 3 hours in, that's when it starts to get a bit darker." So she's there with the top on. Only really need the arms and neck done. I said, don't touch the face. So I've
not the face, not the money maker.
So Lucy's there with the mitt, doing the hands and the arms.
Brilliant.
And she's looking at me. Never did I think in our marriage like this. What's our life come to?
Whoa.
Pays the bills.
Yeah, anyway, she should be well used to it with those.
Exactly. That's exactly what they all do. So so I'm getting the tan on, all good. It's about 9:30 at night by the time it's finished. So that's like an hour to get a nice glow. That gets to 10:30. There's no way I'm staying up till 11 or 12 to shower to get this off.
Don't tell me you went in and took on the sheets.
So I went straight to bed. I was like, I'd be grand. How bad can it be? Looked at the bottle. It says mild to dark or mid to dark.
You left it like Polly, all the sheets covered.
So wrecked the sheets. Woke up the next morning. Doris, my arms are mahogany. And it doesn't come off. So jump in the shower, I'm scrubbing your knuckles and elbows, like the state of it.
What's the name of that stuff?
I don't know which one it was.
Will you send me on a phone?
But I swear, so knuckles, elbows, I'm there scrubbing. I must have had about 3 showers trying to get it all off.
Oh, wow.
And then the problem is as well as my face. So she said don't put any on your face. So my neck is literally brown.
Look like you're wearing a turtleneck.
Honestly, so I'm actually dreading what the photos are going to be like when they come out.
Fingers crossed.
Well, I was just thinking, like when you said that about Wales, that like when I first went to the Ospreys, remember she had Gavin Henson, who was going out with Charlotte Church at the time, everybody was known that he'd fake tan before matches.
Yeah. He used to have the wipes. Do you remember that? He had wipes on that Lions tour. He had a bag with wipes in it that was also tan in case he lost a bit off his face.
It's insane.
Your stuff there. That's what you needed.
That's what I needed to wipe the face. But the first time I saw it, we went over to play Munster actually, and we flew from Cardiff, whatever, into Shannon. And we'd landed, I think, on the Friday morning. We were doing a captain's run in Thomond Park that afternoon. So I was rooming with Lee Byrne. I went off. So they kind of called themselves a Fab Five. So they had Gavin Henson, Lee Byrne, James Hook, Mike Phillips and Shane Williams. They were the Fab Five. And so anyway, there's a couple of us went for a coffee, and we were walking down the street in Limerick, and one of them spotted a beauty salon. They're like, "Here, come on, we'll go in here." So 3 of them walked into the beauty salon, and they said, "Any available?" So 3 spray tans. And I walked, because I was like, "There's no way I'm going to live this. I ain't getting in this."
Tommy, bye.
So literally 3 of them spray tan, back to the hotel, and I went to Thomond Park that day, and literally it was like rubbing off on the ball, like you're passing the ball about, and it's crazy.
I'll never forget that Lions tour in 2009. So normally in the team room there's like a whiteboard for activities. So you might put down, thinking of going to the cinema tonight at 9 o'clock.
Tourist activities, all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Playing Monopoly at 4 o'clock, throw your name on the board. And I think it was James Hook came in and put down, "Spray tans tonight, boys, 7 o'clock. Sandra's going to spray lads down." And I was there, fair play to Hookie, he's gas. And then, honestly...
Book me in, book me on. That's what you said.
Straight in, boy, okay. But straight away, all the boys started coming in, like Powley came in, and Andy Powell came in and went, "Oh, spray tans tonight, boys!" And he was throwing his name up on the board.
Honestly, it's different level over there.
Yeah.
I remember I was there, you had 9 was Mike Phillips, 10 was James Hook, 12 was Gavin Henson, 13 was Sonny Parker, who was Maori, 14 was me. I had the pastiest white legs, and then you had Lee Byrne outside talk about the odd one out.
I remember throwing Paulie's name up on the board just purely for the crack. I was there, how would this turn out?
Very good, very good. So anyway, looking forward to what those pictures turn out. It's been a busy old week. So anyway, listen, coming up on the podcast, we're going to talk potentially GA. Obviously, they're having their Interpros this weekend. Lots of rule changes coming in. They're going to try and use them to speed up the game. We're going to talk about rule changes. Do we actually need them? Do sports benefit from them? And what rules you'd like to see coming into rugby and come away from it? I think that's going to be really interesting as well. But first up, we have to talk about Leinstertainment. You had to stand sideline for the Leinstertainment, 82,000 in Croke Park. First 15 minutes, Leinster did put on a show, didn't they?
To be fair, first 10 minutes in particular, Tommy, you're right. They blew it away, to be fair. And Munster probably rude being inaccurate at certain times, but you must credit, to be fair, they were really good. Really good for their first 2 scores.
Like, the game's been talked to death. We know it's been analysed, everything else. Like, was there anything in terms of you were Andy Farrell watching that? Like, who stood out? Who do you think is, like, put themselves into the frame, particularly going into November and stuff?
Yeah, okay, from a world stage, Snyman is a different type of animal altogether, isn't he? Like, I know there's the rivalry and there was all the bits of him being booed going off, but Tommy, what a player, man.
He's unbelievable, isn't he?
What a player.
Like, the line-out steals.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, and I know they chatted in commentary a little bit about that you might know the calls and stuff like that, but you also know people's shapes, if you know what I mean. So going up against each other, I would know, because I train against you so much. I know when you favour a ball, winning a forward or back or whatever it is.
So if you were at Munster and then all of a sudden you left, like, they'd obviously change the line out calls, but there's tells.
Exactly. It's like poker, and there's little ones. Like, I remember Stringer, to be fair, Peter Stringer would say to me, I know when you're winning that ball going forward, you stand on the top of your toe to kind of jump forward, stuff like that. So players would watch stuff like that. You pick up that kind of stuff. I thought he was brilliant. Do you know who I've been unbelievably impressed with?
Who?
Tadhg Furlong. Everyone's going on about the Leinster defence. I question it in ways. I think better teams will ask better questions of it in time. But furlong speed off the line, if you front 5 pace like that, whatever about in the centres where it's coming to reads, but he is messing up, that first pod outside the ruck.
I know, that's what, like athletes, who is the sub-tight head who come on and made this unbelievable cover tackle in the corners? Like tight heads, where's the Rossies and the John Hayes who are just meant to tighten up the like there's no space anymore. Whenever I was a winger and I had the ball, I'm looking up for the tight head prop.
Yeah.
That's my man. I'm going to go around either tight head prop or Donncha Callahan. That's my man. Here's the gap.
Him with a massive ass.
But like when you see Tyg Furlong, these lads, they're such athletes now. Like, it makes it difficult. There's no space.
No, there's no space. But I think he's gone under the radar a little bit. I thought Tyg Byrne was incredible on the back foot all day. I thought his kind of leadership by performance were incredible, but I was blown away by Osborne. Osborne honestly looks the real deal, and he played at 15 during the summer tour and was excellent. He's a brilliant centre.
Big lump as well, isn't he?
Oh my goodness, that one where he ran Nankerville and then they were able to kind of barge the ruck over and turn away the ball.
Another young fella. Like, from Tyg Byrne's point of view, right, so he's on the back foot, so it's always difficult for him as well. As a captain, like, he has 2 new captains pretty much, Doris up against Byrne. We're thinking, is Pete O'Mahony going to be available come November? Andy Farrell's obviously looking out potentially for a new captain. Who gets the nod? Like, do you think Tyg Byrne was fantastic, but he's on the back foot.
Yeah.
But he's, in his 30, like, you might get a couple of years out of Tyg Byrne. Are you looking at Caelan Doris, who, to be fair, I just think has taken his game to the next, like, probably a year or so ago, he wasn't really too sure about him. He burst onto the scenes, but he went through a period, I think, that he was kind of maybe out-muscled, whatever else, but he is on fire at the minute.
Yeah, he's the real deal. I think, to answer your question, Doris is our captain for Ireland.
I think so.
And I'd lock him in, and I think we all nearly need to get behind him. I think he's the Lions captain.
Yeah.
I just think exactly what you touched on there. His performances have been, like, that it's so easy. Like, I remember, like, the great leaders we had.
Yeah.
So easy to follow them when they're setting the tone every time. And what Doris is... point of difference, I feel he's so good at all the areas of his game, but if I was watching it to get better at rugby, he post tackle, he is an animal. His ability to win gain line after contact. But if I was trying to learn, if I was young boy or girl watching the game and I wanted to get better at something, watch Doris before he gets contact, before he takes contact. His ball change, the way he gets to a soft shoulder, his footwork, his speed.
Totally agree. It's not about just trying to bosh over people. He tries to go for the space.
He gets a soft shoulder, so then it makes it so much easier. Now, we can do both, which is brilliant, but trying to get people to learn that kind of skill to kind of, like, we used to unders, over, stuff like that. He's doing it all. That guy is mad.
Like his kind of footwork just before contact.
Yeah.
So hard to try and put a good shot on him. But, like, I just think he's just playing at such a... Now, it helps when you have Van der Fleer and Conan, because I think Conan is really on fire at the minute. Like, I mean, it's going to be hard for another province to get players into that back row if you're talking Ireland.
Yet again, I think that's a mistake Leinster made last season. You pointed out about Doris. He played 6. When you played 6, you get lost to the work. There's no more thankless position on a rugby pitch than 6. It's the classic, you had a great game, we didn't see you. And why you would take... Like, I'll be honest with you, I know Leinster supporters might feel that he hasn't won European Cup yet, so you can't compare him with Jamie. But for me, on the world stage, when it comes to Doris... I think we're chatting about Kieran Reid type performances.
Really?
We haven't seen a number 8 like him since Kieran Reid. He can do it all. And I do think he has put himself in a great position to not only go on the tour, but lead it.
What do you think about captaining your province and captaining Ireland?
Yeah.
Is it too much?
It's a lot.
I remember when Rory Best, initially he was captain of Ulster, and Joe kind of had an issue with putting him in as captain of Ireland as well. Just the extra workload and responsibility. Like, I never realised the amount of phone calls, the amount of times the captain has to go down to Dublin and have meetings with Joe Schmidt, with Andy Farrell to discuss, what's the plans. We're thinking about having a day off here. Like, they go into the minute. It's not just being on the pitch.
Yeah.
There's so many areas around it. I remember it was even with John Johnny Sexton as well. Johnny was captain in Leinster. They were quite slow to make him captain of Ireland as well, because it is a big step up.
Yeah.
And Caelan Doris, like, he is playing so good. Is it worth potentially putting that extra bit of pressure on him?
I think we nearly have to speed it up.
Have to,
His development. I actually think it is. And you know it, Tommy, the leader always picks itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know who, like, they might pick someone as captain, but you're all looking. I'll never forget, like, Delalio on that tour in Lawrence Delalio in 2005.
Yeah.
Drico was the leader, but sometimes there's that alpha male that people look to. And I think Doris is a bit about that. I do think the dual captains hurt Gary Ringrose and James Ryan. And they would probably be good club captains. But I think you got to pick your best players. He will be helped by the fact that there is good leaders there. The likes of Byrne, Furlong, these guys he can kind of call on as well. And you're right, it's a bit unfair that we're not judging Tadhg Byrne by that standard. It's hard. Like, I really felt for him at the weekend. And I know you're going to say, oh, Munster glasses on here. But there was, in around the 20th minute, Leinster had given away 4 penalties at the breakdown. And the ref had coached them to get onside once and to leave a breakdown alone. So you could add them to potential 2 more penalties if he had just called them.
Yeah.
And then Tadhg went to chat to him on 20 minutes. And the referee told him, our relationship's done for the day.
Right.
On the 20th minute, to a line telling him we're done.
Yeah.
And I'm there like...
And particularly when they're on such a back foot at that stage as well. I mean, he's trying to turn any sort of momentum going.
Absolutely. I just thought, like, there is an onus. Of course, the referees have to make the right call, but they have a relationship with the players. They
can't just say that's us done.
Exactly. No, we've played with good players that spot it a little bit earlier and say, okay, I'm frozen out with him at the moment.
Yeah. Somebody else deal with him.
You chat to him from here on in.
And Tadhg Byrne's quite young into that captaincy situation, and there's not really that many other lads around who could step into that role either.
I don't think the onus is on him. If the ref is admitting that we don't have a relationship, that is 50% him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so he has to do better there as well. Tadhg has to be able to communicate with him. Of course, we're all about the values of the game and keeping it right. We don't chat to him in a disrespectful way, but he's got to hear him that we've done 4 penalties. You've coached him twice on 2 other things.
Yeah.
Come on.
I presume that'll come with experience as well. It's the sort of thing that you would expect more experienced captains know. It's managing the referee. It's such a big part of it. That's why Rory and Paulie, these guys were so good. Let's quickly, because I want to get back to the referees in a second, just the Ulster Connacht match, touch on that. Like, it was exactly what you expect for an Inter-Pro. Hugely physical. Connacht came to rough Ulster up.
The physicality. Bolton on some of those carries, man. Did you see him?
Insane. Insane. Like, it kind of got a little bit over a couple of times. There was the one red card from Josh Murphy. I thought Dave Heffernan's hit too high on Ian Henderson. Ian Henderson had to go off with the HIA.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we all want to see attritional hard rugby, but when you've got and Josh Murphy's challenge, like hitting the guy off the ball, reckless, and that's what cost Connacht. You know, I thought actually if the two of them walked away with a draw, they both probably would have been delighted. Connacht left with 2 bonus points, but Ulster be delighted to keep that going. Do you know who I want to talk about though as well is the young 9 Josh Murphy. Or Ben Murphy.
Richie Murphy's young fella.
Richie Murphy. So exactly, the head coach of Ulster's son.
Yeah, what a try.
He scored 4 tries in 4 games.
He scored right under you and you'd have faced like a smack dart.
Well, it's because he threw the ball on the floor and I'm looking and I think this is going to land in my head here.
Well, he tried he does everything too fast. He tried some celebration where he was showing off a belt or something, but it all got mixed up and then all you could
look at my belt, Dad! Up on the coach's box.
All you could see was you with your Victor Meldrew head in the background. I took a photo of it.
I wasn't too happy, obviously. We conceded another try just before half time as well. But he's good because if you think about it, you have Casey, you have Gibson Park at 9 for Ireland, who is different level. I think he's just a massive step above the other scrum halves. Then you think of the Champions Cup final where DuPont was up against Gibson Park, who was another level up again. Right. But I just think from an Irish point of view, is Casey started the one game, I think, over in South Africa. Conor Murray came on for him as well. Conor started the second one. it's the next 9 is one I kind of wonder about. Because if Gibson Park is going to be there for the next couple of years, Casey, like, is the jury out for him, or do they need to fast track? Because 3 different scrum halves played in the Emerging Ireland Tour. Yeah. Matthew Devine is this Connacht scrum half as well. Yeah, there's question marks. Blade, who went on that tour as well. So
brilliant. Like,
but there's nobody really stepping up. Like, there's all this talk about the out half situation, but actually scrum half's a bit of an issue.
It 100% is, because if you were asking me if we were in the clutch at the moment, who do you go to?
Yeah,
and I 100% I go to Conor Murray. You know what you have.
Well, it seems like, was Conor not I think he said recently he was thinking about retiring, and nearly Andy Farrell tried to talk him out of it.
I wouldn't fault him.
But that just shows that maybe Andy Farrell is not quite sure who's behind Conor.
Yeah, of course.
Like, does he have the trust for somebody yet?
I must say, my respect for Conor Murray at the moment is through the roof.
Yeah.
Because the situation he's in is very difficult.
Yeah.
And the way he's managed himself has been, he's never thrown the toys out of the
fair
pram.
play to him, true.
It's not easy. And of course, Munster and Ireland have to do that. But it's not like his value has gone down in any way in his performance.
No. Well, like, listen, he will. You know yourself, when you got to the latter stages of your career, you weren't playing at the level that you were when you were top. And me too. Yeah. You know, and I'm sure, like, Conor, unbelievable player, unbelievable servant to Ireland, but there's no way at the age he can be at the level maybe that he was 4 or 5 years. Now, listen, he'll probably believe, as you do when you're in that situation, that you are at that level. But Andy Farrell is relying on him at the minute. So, I just kind of think coming into the next few weeks, like, what's Andy Farrell going to do at that scrum half?
I definitely bring him along. I think when you have a young player like Ben Murphy, exposure is so important. So bring him up to Irish camp, show him what good is, show him the standards. There's areas in his game that need work. His kicking needs work. Yeah,
but and you're saying that, and his box kicking wasn't great at the weekend, but his dad is Richie Murphy, who was the Ireland skills coach. This kid has been doing skills since he could even hold a rugby ball. I would imagine, like... Well, he looks electric with ball in hand, which is what you want as a 9.
That was brilliant. And he's so quick.
He's so quick. And I just think his pass looked electric, his kicking maybe not quite, but anyway, to keep an eye out for.
What's your suggestion, so that his dad takes him for midterm and just does boxing kicking?
Exactly.
And then we start him against New Zealand.
Get him up to Ulster, do a few quick box kicking sessions, and he's straight in for New Zealand.
But you're right, it's great to see someone come up and kind of push everyone, and at least we're chatting about him as well.
And I just think we need it, and it's going to be a real battle when Matthew Devine comes home from Emerging Ireland. Who's going to get to start in that spot? You were talking about referees. Like, we talked about, there should have been 2 red cards probably in that Ulster Connacht match. There was a whole fiasco around the 3 players, 3 front rowers. One was gone off. So literally around, was it 20 minutes in, that Munster were down to 14 men for about 6 or 7 minutes. The game should have been stopped. There was a bit of confusion around the 4th official, that one of the Munster players went off with the HIA, or did he? And Leinster then kicked off, played, and scored the 3rd try. And that was the final nail in the coffin. Like, frustrating on such a big occasion that there's a bit of a cock-up, like, from a technical side of things.
I'm a little bit worried about this one, Tommy, just from me making this point, because it's on Munster, and I don't think it'll hit the same notes that it needs to. I nearly wish it was that it happened Leinster, so that I could try to articulate how important it is.
Why?
That this was a massive, massive mistake. Because we are trying to change habits and behaviours. We're trying to protect the players. And I've unbelievable respect for Graham Rowntree for coming up and being a true rugby man and putting his hands up and saying, look, there was a mistake. We'll all try to get it right. All of us are behind the HIA protocols. But Tommy,
fair play,
we are in a professional sport.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the tipping point of it, players will do anything to secure their contract and to make sure that they can pay the mortgage.
Yeah.
And if you're asking them to be taken off the pitch now, and
to hold their hand up and say, I need to come off here.
Exactly it. And now, of course, it's run by the medics.
Yeah.
But what I know, and it's happening already. So there's been a change this year. All the teams are wearing a nice bit of technology in their gum shield, that when you take a certain collision in velocity or repetitive efforts that flag in terms of a concussion, then you're removed from the pitch. Rightly so.
I wasn't aware of this.
Yeah.
I was only looking it up as well. So World Rugby have literally bought all these gum shields for, I think, every club at the moment. So there's like a gyroscope or something in the gum shield, so it can measure the G-force or the way, like a collision, the head kicks back. So, and then there's someone with a laptop on the sideline say, listen, he's taking a knock, need to get him off.
An independent medical doctor. Beautiful. That's exactly where we want.
There are going to be teething problems with this, so
100%
get the joke, the pun.
Well done you. But the thing about it is, though, Tommy, like, there can be teething problems, but we both play professional sport for a while, right? And you scenario train.
Yeah.
The last kind of 10 minutes of a situation, you might go, we're down to 13 men. He's in the bin. He's gone off injured. Here's a ball. You've 4 minutes to, you know what I mean, play on the clock, make it happen. And you have to work it out. I don't know where they're doing that. Like, for them not to stop it But
what, was there not like 3 front rows injured? I mean, you're not going to be practicing that scenario.
You have to. Do you know why you have to, Tommy? Because we're no longer, like, players that went before us can't remember their kids' names. Like, we're not chatting about...
Well, a few players. I mean, given the scale of numbers, but there are these concerns out there, and rugby are trying to do their best to make it as safe as possible.
100% it. So put the protocol in place. I know what we're going to say. Only 80%.
Take the pressure off the players.
Take the pressure off the players. Tommy, if I'm into the last few months of my contract and I'm asked to put in this HIA gum shield, players are throwing these down their socks. We're going to struggle to get adherence to it. You know what I mean? When shoulder pads came in first, the ref used to check them in the change.
Yeah, remember that? Yeah.
They were IRB approved.
Yeah, remember,
now let's make sure all these players are wearing them. But
are wearing the gum shields.
Wearing the gum shields, and that we look after them. We like... the result, to be fair, Leinster scored a try there, but the result was never in doubt.
No.
The fact that Munster went down to 14 for 4 minutes as a result of poor
a technical area,
and around this area, I don't think is good enough. And it's fine to say sorry, and we'll try to do better. And there is teething issues with stuff like this. We wore them in Munster. I wore that. It wasn't in the gum shield. It was a little
behind the neck, and it was kind of the infant stages of this technology.
It was a little plaster, but I remember it went off one time when I came down from a line out. So the force
of landing on the ground,
which is great, because I wouldn't have even associated that with a banger or not.
Yeah, but you don't want to be taken off for landing awkwardly on the line out.
I do, if it's going to keep me safe.
Oh, yeah, okay, fair enough.
But I think we're muddying the waters here a little bit.
It's early stages. I've seen actually as well that this cap as well that flushes cold water. So if you go off with the HIA, they have this new polar cap, I think it is. It's like an ice pack for your head as well. So they're trying to use technology to make the game a bit safer. And it follows on, because we did ask for messages, and we have a message in from somebody about what Simon Zebo has said. And Zebo has said, it's in the papers, about he doesn't want his kids to play rugby.
I take that as a personal slur, because I'm actually coaching 2 of his kids down in Cork on. And maybe he doesn't like the style of play that is being coached.
That would put off anybody.
I must say, Jacob and Sophia are incredible players. But I can kind of see his concern. And if you were watching on Saturday, if you were watching our sport on Saturday, and you saw that, and you saw Jeremy Lockman, say, who had an incredible cut in his eye.
Yeah.
Like, I just think we have to remain professional, but we also have to have compassion and make smart calls. You know what I mean? There's no one trying to get one over. I think, like Roundtree there, and I was so proud of him, genuinely, for being a rugby man, saying, no, we have to keep going. Mistakes like this will happen. But
it's one thing with rugby. I always find that people, if they question you, the thing about rugby is that I always find the coaches, the people who you look up to, are wonderful values, wonderful people. Graham Roundtree, Andy Farrell, Joe, like the coaches who we've had are brilliant people. You put so much trust in them, and if they trust you to go out there and put your body on the line and work hard, I kind of feel that I want to do it. And I would have no issue with my kids playing rugby. Like, are you at this? Like, same. Of course, I watched it. Unbelievably confrontational match, and it was like, and people were loving the smashes and the intensity of it, but we don't want to see people going over the top. Like, I just think the 2 red cards, or 1 red card maybe should have been in the Connacht match. Like, repeat offenders, I think, should definitely, if you're getting a couple of yellow cards, a couple of red cards, like you need to start hitting them with massive bans. I think you need to start hitting them in the pocket to really make it not worthwhile them doing it. But I don't think Zeeb's kind of saying that he doesn't want his, like, listen, that's his opinion.
Yeah,
fair
course,
play
yeah.
to him. And but I just, it worries me when I kind of hear a player like that saying that he doesn't want his kids to play, given, you know, the career, the life that he's had in the game of rugby. And it's sad if that's
Of
the
course.
way some people are thinking.
But I'm down there, Tommy, right? And I'm down in Conway, under 10s is our level. And of course, you're trying to teach all the values. And where our sport's a little bit different is respect for the referee.
Totally. So many different values that are a different level. And I think the benefits that you get from that sport.
Agreed. But then when you see it at the top end now, you know what I mean? You can see why someone like him is concerned. Or you can see... Yeah.
But how many players did Zebo play alongside? How many matches did he play? You would hope, touch wood, that he is safe and feeling good. And listen, it's horrific, as you mentioned, some of the instances that we've seen.
Yeah.
And I see that World Rugby are trying to do, like these gum shields, they're coming in to try and make the game safer. The polar caps are the HIA, all the, like I think, like we're going to talk about GAA, we're going to talk about other sports. I don't see any of these others. Like I played Gaelic football growing up. The amount of off the ball shoulders into the back, like I remember talking to Sean Kavanagh, the Tyrone captain. I mean, he used to talk about the collisions, the amount of concussions that he had. Never got flagged. You know, he'd be playing week on week because it wasn't really something that's kind of just brushed aside. In a way, I kind of think that rugby, it's incredibly attritional, incredibly physical sport, but at least they're trying to make it safer so that parents on the sideline are happy to see their kids, because participation numbers in underage rugby is still growing. It's still huge.
I'd agree with you. I'd be of the same view. I am so thankful to our sport. Now, we had a great time. We had a laugh. And we got paid as well, which provided
the dream. It's what we grew up dreaming of doing.
But I feel it made us decent lads. If you know what I mean, it kind of shaped us a little bit. Just even small things. I remember my mom chatting. She liked the idea that you had to wear a tie after a match. You know what I mean? But there was
small things.
Yeah, and just respect and showing manners and stuff like that. And you don't want those to get lost in the game. But I do think, Tommy, there's an onus now. We need flawless protocols.
Yeah,
we absolutely do. We can't have mistakes like that.
No,
you know, it's just not good enough anymore. We're chatting about people's
lives. And unfortunately, I know a couple of the players who are involved in those case actions over in the UK and stuff. And like, listen, it's so sad, and nobody wants to see that. But they do want to see a wonderful sport that is safe for young people and older to get part of. Let's talk about GAA quickly as well, because they are having their interpros. I think Leinster are playing against Ulster this weekend in Croke Park. Munster are playing.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, well done, Donners. Well done. I'm actually really interested to see, because it's like Gaelic football. The hurling has been unbelievable the last couple of years. Munster championship amazing. I was at the All Ireland final. The football though has gotten very.
You get to the
I know. Don't ask.
Don't ask. And Alan Wynne Jones.
I know.
He wouldn't know one end of a hurling.
Big supporters of sport in general. I go to a lot of the Munster championship. I know. Don't even bring that up. Didn't go down too well.
Clare and Cork people. I would have done anything for a ticket. There's Thomas. With Alan Wynne. Oh, what a way.
Anyway, listen, it was a great game. Well done to Clare. Should have went to a replay.
Nearly at the check who won.
But the football, because I grew up playing Gaelic football as well, Monaghan, it's so big, and they're bringing in these rules, and it kills me to see the game, because I find it really, like the All-Ireland final football, Armagh, great to see them win, but it wasn't a great spectacle. So they're bringing in these new rules, like really interesting to see how they're trying to speed the game up with quick taps. They're playing advantage. Like if
There's an arc.
Yeah, if you kick it from outside a certain area.
3-pointer.
Exactly, in basketball you get 2 points. So they're trialling these things, and I think it's wonderful. And rugby's always trialling these different rules as well. Sometimes I think it's a bit gimmicky, and sometimes I wonder, is it worth it?
Yeah.
Like, is there any rules you'd like to see taken into the game or taken out of the game?
Ooh, good question. I'm of a different view. I worry at the moment that we're making the game easy to referee and harder to play. Rugby is a ridiculous game with laws that are open to interpretation the whole time.
Yeah.
So what you see might be different to what I see. And then you go on the goodwill of a referee to make the calls and his team. And I just look at some of it at the moment. Like Exeter were brilliant at that pick and jam in near the line.
Oh, yeah. Painful.
No, Tommy, the work that's involved in doing that.
Picking and running into someone.
Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard.
What are you talking about? What, like latching on the side of them, kind of going, you pick it up. No, you pick it up. No, you pass it to me. Oh, jeez, he's dropped it. Right, there we go. Would we not just give it out to the backs? Let them do something.
But all of a sudden we bring in that goal line dropout thing. And I love the way rugby evolves. Everyone goes, okay, fair enough, let's find it. And now we actually see great attack coming from that. I don't mind it. The other one for me is the no re-scrum on a free kick from a scrum. So if you win, but that's how you gained advantage.
So what? So explain that now. So
if I get a free kick,
yeah.
Before we used to say we'll scrum again.
Down, yeah.
So we used to say it. Let's turn short arms into long arms.
Because the chances are, if you get a free kick in a scrum, if you go again, chances are you'll turn that free kick into a penalty, kick into the corner, kick a goal. Yeah.
What we are with all these rule changes, and everyone will chat about changing the subs and all things like that. But what that did was fatigue levels. If you were in jerseys 1 to 5, maybe into 6, you were knackered doing all that work.
Brilliant.
Yeah, honestly, I'll never forget
But now they bring on a whole new pack.
But you
have the whole 6-2 split, and they bring on a whole new pack, and then nobody's knackered.
But even before that, Tommy, nobody's knackered. We're removing the fatigue elements of our sport.
Yeah,
and I actually think that is going to make it more and more dangerous. We need fatigue in the game. We need heavier players to be fatigued so that then there is
creates
space.
More space.
100% it. At the moment, all the fatigue areas are gone.
So what's the key fatigue areas? The scrummaging or the picking and going or the running?
I'll never forget my first senior game of rugby. But before I played in school, you were only allowed to push a metre. Yeah. And I remember I came on for Cork and it was my first ever proper scrum. Right. And I went to run away from it. And I swear it felt like I'd wellies in. You know that lactic acid, the equivalent of if you do this right, the wall squat they do in Fittest Family, and then do maybe 3 burpees and try to sprint away with 120 kgs on your back. It's just not happening. But
who's on your back?
No. But I'm just saying the confrontation of the scrum, the weight that goes through you. But I had to get fit for purpose to do that.
But this is the thing with these young lads coming through. They are so fit and they do reps and reps of scrums as well. Like a rule I'd like to see taken out. I hate this deliberate knock on, like yellow card, like
the one that
I just think they say if you touch it with one, like I scored a lot of intercepts over the years. It was brilliant for me, and you catch it, but you have to go for it with one hand.
Gibson Park's one so. Is that a penalty try for you?
It,
basically, it goes out and Gibson Park with 2 hands goes to get the ball.
Yeah.
But it zips right through them. Yeah. And it stops the try scoring pass.
But if he's genuinely going to catch the ball, then I think it's obviously it's a knock on.
Yeah.
Like, I just think, but now it used to wreck my head whenever there was a 2-on-1 and someone goes and slaps the ball down.
But sure, look at Gary Ringrose's one at the weekend.
Yeah.
Like, that's like something you would see in netball.
Yeah.
So, but then again, right, can I be really harsh? I think the onus is on the ref there. Watch the referee in that moment. Watch his hand.
It's too simple for the referee to go, oh, well, that's a knock on, so that's a yellow card, that's penalty against. But I think if they're going a genuine chance to get it, that there looks like they could, if they tap it up or they're going, but just at the minute, if you have one hand and it hits the ball at all, it looks like it's a penalty against. I just think, from my point of view, from an outside back, I've seen both sides of it, but that was always one that used to frustrate me. If somebody was genuinely looked like they were going for it and getting penalised.
I've one for you. I think the way the game's going, maybe we should remove the poacher. The hardest skill in the game, I think both of us would agree. Right. Robbing the ball at the breakdown.
Right. Okay, well, I'm going to go even more brutal on that, which might lead into it. What about we go 13 men, get rid of the 2 flankers?
Get rid of the 2 flankers?
Yeah.
We're not getting rid of the flankers, kid. We're getting rid of the wingers and you're out of work. Why would you get rid of the flankers?
Because there's the one poaching all the time, slow and everything. What good do flankers do?
They do
nothing.
Hold on. They do all the work.
Slow down the ball. They go and they're always the ones infringing. You've still got the content. You can keep your scrums. You can keep your lineouts. You can keep your rucks.
You are a turkey.
Get rid of the two flankers.
You're a turkey voting for
13 men, loads of space, exciting rugby.
The only ones leaving a rugby pitch are you. Wingers are gone if we go down to 30.
We were just talking about Caelan Doris, wonderful, but he's got Josh Flander-Flair. You've got Six does all the dirty business. If he's doing all the dirty, if he's not there, there's no dirty business to be done. Or else somebody else has to do it.
And you end up, honestly, with cauliflower ears and not looking pretty.
Okay, so you think, well, that's what I think personally, but listen, and we don't want to turn the game into rugby league, but they do have still the contest. But you want to get rid of the contest?
No, I don't. I just, the way it's going at the moment, all the infringement is, like, I go back to the Ospreys game, and again, Munster, man, Tadhg is poaching a ball.
Yeah.
But the length...
And it's such a skill, it is.
An incredible skill. This all came into the World Rugby by Brousseau. Do you remember he came into
Heinrich
South Africa?
Brousseau, was it him?
What a player. He was the first fella to start just actually taking the ball. Everyone else started competing for it. But Tadhg had to survive the poach for about 4 seconds. And if you look at everything that's a penalty around it now, that we used to practice under that rucking net.
Yeah.
So if it's such a contentious issue, and if it's so difficult for a ref to get right, why not remove it if we're making everything else easy? And let's keep them all, you know what I mean, flying fit.
Well, I'm telling you, the way to do that is get rid of the back rowers.
Do you know what I do think? I think we should help refs more. I think we should make referees more professional. I think maybe we could do with 2 refs on the pitch. Honestly, one reffing the offside line. Or like bringing players back. I know you
the touch judge meant to do that.
When have you seen that?
But they're meant to. They're on the sideline. They're holding the offside line.
Yeah, but they're not.
Well, they should be. I do think as well, I actually do like the on report, the 20-minute red card. I hate to see a game, somebody gets a red card from a rush of blood to the head early in the game. People pay €100 for a ticket. They don't want to have the game ruined in the first 15 minutes of it. I like the 20-minute red card.
Red is red for me.
No, I think they're gone. Red's gone. But bring somebody on after 20 minutes and hammer the person who got the red card.
Do you know
the 4 weeks for a really dangerous high tackle, I just don't think is enough.
I think if you want to change the behaviours, you have to punish the coaches. I remember Owen Farrell was going to tackling school. Yeah. Why are we sending Owen Farrell to tackling school? He is.
Because to be fair, if I'm going for a kick-off, I've just come off the bench and wanting to create an impact. I remember Joe Schmidt used to say, when you come off the bench, just don't go too many, because that's when you lose. You go and you try and charge, and then you do something stupid. You tackle someone in the air. That's not really the coach's fault.
I think it is. I honestly think there's such an onus. Everyone looks after their areas. And if defensive coaches were punished for defensive red cards, if the fines were on them, because all the defensive coaches saying, stop the ball. Yeah. Stop the ball. And you were there. I hit the ball, but then I slid up.
Well, exactly, because if they don't do it on the Monday, they know it's going to be brought up in the review session. Why did you not stop the ball?
You have to change the behaviour at a coaching level.
Interesting. We want to hear from people at home as well on that. What did they think? Any laws that they'd like to bring in? What did they think of Donncha's idea of getting rid of the poach? Quickly, right, I've got one. We were discussing this in the show this morning. So, caught cheating. The World Conker Championships. Here you have it.
Yes, now we're talking.
There are allegations. The male champion...
Oh, hold on, sorry. Chessies.
Like chestnuts. You know,
with the shoelace.
Yeah, there's World Conkers champions.
Skull and Spridnave champion.
So the male champion supposedly swapped a chestnut for a steel nut. I think he put a nut into the conker and won it.
Wow.
Now, it's only allegations. I mean, it'd be pretty clear to go and check. Whoa. But he won the World Conker Championships. So I want to quickly get to you, right? Is there one... cheating, an episode that I'll give you my one from my career, that the cheating, and he makes me pay for it every bloody year. Mike Phillips, 2011. I'm not going to curse.
The ball.
The ball gets kicked in the Millennium Stadium. Ball gets kicked into touch. So when the ball goes into the crowd or somebody else touches it, you can't take a quick throw. So the ball went out. I turned my back. Of course, something you're taught, never turn your back. Matthew Rees got given the ball by the ball boy, and Mike Phillips, of course, he doesn't know the rules. So he just was like, give me the ball. So he's there going, pass it, quick tap. So he throws the ball in, fast line out, runs into the corner. Of course, I have my back, turn around, see him, and try to tackle him in the corner. He hands me off, and he has got this picture as his wallpaper.
Of course he does. Of course he does.
Every year, my birthday, I get a happy birthday, mate, and it's a picture with his hand in my face. It wrecks my head. Brilliant. And it shouldn't have been allowed. And the referee should, and the touch does, and I'm never going to forgive that because he won't let me. So that's my biggest cheating scandal. That
amazing. You're putting him up there with the chessies.
It's up there with the steel nut.
Brilliant, Mike Phillips.
Have you got one that kind of wrangles with you?
No, again, going back to Munster ones, there is the John O'Neill try in the corner, stuff like that, before TMOs.
Okay.
And there was also the hand it back.
Oh, Neil back.
Yeah,
it was that when in the last play of the game, he tapped it for Leicester.
So Stringer's about to put the ball in the scrum.
That was cheeky.
Do you know what?
What?
We loved him for it. Not loved him for it. Sorry.
Was that not the final?
That was
European Cup final. You were
European
going to win.
Semi-final. But it was a massive lesson for us, Tommy. We were there like, wow, Neil back will do anything to win. Our respect.
Yeah, but do you want to cheat? What he did, though.
He found a way to get a European Cup medal in all of his teammates' ass pocket.
This is what I was discussing the show this morning. It's kind of like, where you draw the line? Because there's certainly, like, then it opens up a whole range. Well, how far do you go?
Yeah.
Which is like, but I mean, if you're on the field of play, you know, what you can get away with on the field of play, fair play.
Course,
like, it's like Richie McCaw made a flipping career out of it.
You know, the classic.
The dark art.
The dark art.
Yeah,
Ooh, everyone's great at the dark art. Stuff like that happens, and you honestly, you respect some people that are 100%.
Like think of Thierry Henry with the handball.
No, that's different. That was no way. That should never be forgiven. So there's the levels, right? If it
happens against you, well, that did happen against you.
100% to us. Yeah. But I just think there was a different. But I'm kind of glad that's Munster a bit as well. I'm not just saying that, but there was no excuses that time. There was that's Munster the moment.
Supporters agree with you. Not sure
they don't. But I know in that group we learnt an awful lot from it. But let's just say Terry Henry's handball and cheating at chessies is not on.
Absolutely. Get your nuts out, Thierry Henry. Your steel nuts. Listen, that's we've loads more to discuss as well, but we'll keep it till next week again. It's been good.
Yeah, enjoyed it, Tommy. Good on you.
No, absolutely.
You've a glow to you.
I do have a nice little colour, don't I? Wonder where I got that from. I swear the scrub Brillo pads, anything to get rid of that tan. Need to get some of that cream you use. Get in touch, the Offload_podcast. Find us online. Send us in your messages. Well, we got through one or two there today. We'll try to get through a couple more of the quirky ones.
Subscribe as well and like. Oh, yes. Give us an old rating. That helps.
Oh, does that all that help as well? Yeah. And pick up Disaster Dad.
Hey, good on you, Tommy.
I've got my copy. I'll send it to anyone because I'm not going to read it. Thanks, Doris. Top
Words
man.
are too big.
Chat to you soon.